right, let's do it. It's a hump day edition of Weather for Weather Geeks, Wednesday evening, 27th day of June, here in 2018, and it's turned out to be a pretty unsettled day as expected today. We've had a few rounds of showers and some thunder early this evening, so I'm going to show you the radar here briefly. Not going to spend a lot of time on this because this will be pretty outdated information by the time a lot of you watch this. But at 7:21, we had some thunder and lightning near the state line around East Palestine, heading up into southeastern parts of Mahoning County. Thankfully, the severe weather threat did not materialize today. It was a pretty low threat overall, but conditions just weren't right for really bad thunderstorms today. Just too much cloudiness around. The atmosphere could not get unstable enough. And we had some things just generally going against us for the severe weather threat today. The lightning has been more plentiful to our south. Around New Philly earlier, we had some good thunderstorms. That's pushed east. Also a decent amount of lightning down into parts of West Virginia, including around Morgantown and up towards Pittsburgh. We've had some frequent thunder and lightning for a while this evening. This is all spinning around an area of low pressure up here, which is slowly cruising east. And as it does so, we will slowly dry things out as we go through the night tonight. 24-hour rainfall totals. These are actual rain gauges. People with backyard rain gauges that have the ability to upload their information to the internet. That information is then available to us to pull down into this graphic automatically, which is nice. About a half an inch here at our downtown studios. Also a similar number over towards Austintown. Latonia, closer to a quarter of an inch. Same in Canfield. Down towards East Liverpool, about a quarter of an inch. And up to half an inch or even close to an inch in some of these rain gauge numbers in parts of Mercer and Trumbull counties. Now, all of these, of course, are unofficial, but gives you kind of a flavor as to how much rain has generally fallen here locally since last evening. All right, our showers will become less numerous overnight. I think what we'll get into late tonight is a pattern that might produce a little bit of drizzle. There'll be kind of a low stratocumulus deck overhead as we go into tomorrow morning, so I wouldn't be surprised if you have to flip on the wipers a few times tomorrow morning, and it may take a while for the clouds to clear out of here. It may be a pretty gloomy morning overall on Thursday, but as we get into the afternoon, slowly but surely, the clouds will thin. Should make for a nice evening tomorrow. It'll be our most comfortable evening we're going to have for quite some time. So hopefully, whether you have golf league or a softball game or something like that for your Thursday evening, hopefully you will take advantage of the nice weather, because the heat becomes the story as we go into Friday and the weekend. Wall-to-wall sunshine Friday, wall-to-wall sunshine all day Saturday. And yeah, temperatures are really going to blast off. I've been talking about this a lot this summer when we've had some hot spells, that we haven't been above 92 in a while. We've hit 92 once this year. That was back during Memorial Day weekend. 92 was our high water mark last year. That occurred in June. We hit 92 in 2016 on July 23rd. In 2015, 91 was the warmest temperature, and we didn't even have a 90-degree day at all in the relatively cool summer of 2014. It's been since 2012 since we've been above 92. We hit 98 on a day in July back in 2012 during that very hot summer. So the question for the weekend will be, will we get above 92? Our forecast still is for 93, both Saturday and Sunday. Pretty close to the record, especially Saturday. Saturday's record's 94. Sunday's record is 96. And while Monday and Friday will both be hot, the records are out of reach those days. Well, the dew points are also going to start becoming pretty nasty as we go into the weekend and even into next week. I mean, even if these are too high by a few, which I suspect they are, dew points in the upper 60s with temperatures in the upper 80s, lower 90s, that's no fun at all. Those are pretty oppressive conditions. Going to create some nasty heat index values Saturday, late afternoon and evening. 92 to perhaps as high as 98 or even 100 may be pretty common as far as the heat index goes later in the day Saturday, and pretty much the same kind of situation on Sunday. It's just going to be tough. So it's going to be, one of those deals when it gets hot outside. You got to watch out for the elderly, especially if they don't have air conditioning. Watch out for the younger folks, people who are a little more sensitive to high heat, and of course the pets as well. All right, boy, what an impressive weather map this turns into as we go through time. This is an enormous ridge that's going to set up shop and stick around for a while. I've fast forwarded all the way to the 4th of July here. I mean, look at this thing. This is a ridge that basically spans from Maine to New Mexico. It's 2,500 miles across. It's just a dome of heat that's going to settle over a good chunk of the lower 48 states and bring a lot of people some really hot weather as we go through time. All right, so we got a week to go until the 4th. Thought I'd talk about the weather over the last several 4ths of July. Last year was a pretty seasonable day. We had 82 in the afternoon last year. In 2016, it didn't even make it to 80. Same thing in 2015. 2014, also a relatively cool 4th of July. 2013 was seasonable. We had a hot 4th of July back in that hot summer of 2012, no surprise. Now, the hottest 4th on record is 99 and way back in 1897. The wettest, also pretty old record there, 1910. This year is not going to be this hot, but it's going to be hotter than these days. I think we'll probably, in fact, it's very likely that we'll have our hottest 4th of July since 2012 this year. When's this pattern going to break? I talked about this briefly on social media this morning, on Twitter, I think. I don't think I posted it on Facebook, but the models are in pretty good agreement that once we get past, say, the first week to 10 days of July, the heat will recenter itself, it looks like, out west. So watch what happens here as I roll this forward. Notice the blue and the green out west where the cool anomalies are. They get overtaken eventually by some reds and oranges as we go deeper into July. And as the west heats up, the east should cool off. So we'll get into, it looks like, a more tolerable pattern as we get into the second half of July. This is the climate forecast system model I'm showing you, but last night's long-range, or Monday night's, I should say, long-range European modeling looked pretty similar. So we have decent agreement that July is going to start really hot, but the second half of the month should be a lot more tolerable. And in the really longer range, there are some suggestions that August may see a continuation of that second half of July pattern and maybe not be all that hot in the grand scheme of things. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. We've got a lot to talk about over the next several days, and we'll cover the heat in more detail as we roll through the end of the week on future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. Don't forget to check out the Storm Tracker 21 app. If you have not downloaded that, it's the Valley's best weather app, and we update that around the clock. All right, have a great Wednesday night, everyone.